Woo!
Hey everybody, Jim Sammons here, and welcome to the Kayak Fishing Show live. As always, brought to you by Ballast Point Brewing Company, as well as all our other great sponsors scrolling across the bottom there. I'm not having a beer today. Just kind of got some work to do. Anyway, hope you're all doing good. I had a good weekend. I did. Got out fishing on Friday, and my wife and I took our boat out and went just north of La Jolla offshore about 8 miles and found the plan actually was to go looking for tuna. But about halfway to where everybody was catching tuna, or not even halfway, well, we came across a couple of really nice kelp patties that had some really good quality yellowtail on them and some Dorado. So we got some nice yellows, broke off some Dorado. So that was a super fun day. And then got back out again yesterday on my friend Matt's boat. He's the from Ballast Point, Team Ballast Point. And so we went out with him and another guy who works for Ballast Point. And the plan was kind of do the same thing, go looking for kelp patties. Kelp patties were kind of few and far between. Had a tough time finding any. The ones we found one that was just massive and thought for sure there'd be fish on it, and it was barren. The ones we found that were holding some fish were actually pretty small kelp patties, but they would only have like one fish, two fish on them, and they didn't really want to cooperate, didn't want to bite too much. So eventually we found some schools of yellowfin tuna. And we picked up a couple of pretty nice little yellowfin, not huge, but one was decent size, probably 30 pounds. The other one was probably 15. Excuse me. Then we got one yellowtail off kelp patty and some bonita, but nothing super wide open. We did see a free jumping marlin, which is pretty rare for here. So that was very, very cool to see. It jumped probably a dozen times, so it was just awesome to see that. We did our normal cleanup while we're out there. Whenever we're on the boat, it's always kind of a fun challenge to see who can spot and grab the most mylar balloons or regular balloons. And we scratched up about 20 of them. Could have gotten more, but there were times we saw more, but we were trolling and we didn't want to deviate from our trolling course to go grab balloons. So if you guys saw my post earlier today, I showed some pictures of the mylar we grabbed. So I highly encourage anybody to spread that word, maybe share that post about these balloons. I mean, I really suggest people don't buy them. You hand one to a kid, they let go, and you just never know where they're going to end up. And quite often, I mean, a trip does not go by that we don't find quite a few of them. And, birds and sea life can get entangled in those ribbons that are hanging from them. The mylar balloons don't break down. The turtles can, they look like a jellyfish. Turtles will ingest them, and then they get caught in their digestive tract, and then it'll kill them. Along with other sea life. So just don't buy the stupid mylar balloons. Think of something else you can get your kid. Everybody made such an uproar over the straws. And I actually mentioned this in a comment, and they banned plastic straws here. But, if you drop the plastic straw, it falls on the ground. If you let go of a mylar balloon that's full of helium, you don't know where that thing's going. And quite often they do end up way offshore. So encourage your friends, encourage your family not to buy mylar balloons. I mean, if anything should have been illegal in my idea, it's these stinking balloons. But, that's just my opinion. But if nothing else, don't support it. Don't buy them. Encourage your friends not to buy them. Maybe, like I said, share that post. I mean, we find so many of these things. I think we got about 20 of them yesterday. So, like I said, just highly suggest you stay away from those rotten things. There's a couple comments here. Zach, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well. Dave Mazagill, hi, Jim. Been a while. Looks like you got some nice yellowtail the other day off your boat. I'm headed out tonight with my son and 3 buddies to try our luck on the Old Glory. I wish you luck. I know yesterday the fishing was slower. The reports from yesterday were slower. I don't know what it's like yet today. But when I was out Friday, the water was 73. Yesterday, most of the places we were fishing, the water was 70, and we finally found some 72-degree water, and that's where we found the yellowfin tuna. But like I said, the water temperature dropped a little bit. It was an absolutely gorgeous day. The day I was out Friday was hot. I mean, sweltering hot. We were just sweating really badly out there. I mean, it was awesome. I mean, the fishing was good, but it was super hot. Yesterday, like I said, things had turned over a little bit. It was a little breezy, but still super nice. And that little breeze kept it cooler, and that breeze was cool. So I don't know if things had rolled over a little bit. But those big boats, they have their whole code groups, and they'll help you find, they're going to find fish. But I did hear yesterday that a lot of the sport boats didn't do as well as they have been doing previous. But you know how that is. This time of year, things can change day to day. Liam, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us. Gotta love the magic kelp. Yeah, you gotta love the magic kelp. Actually, just a memory popped up on my Facebook page just a couple of days ago, where my son and I had gone out 2 years ago and found the magic kelp. And we literally found one kelp patty and fished it, and we were done. It was just nonstop, wide open Dorado fishing, to the point of I was tossing out one of those. Where is it? Here, I've got one over here. These Go Fish cameras. So I had this on a float. This float here, like, I don't remember how that fits in there. Anyway, it was kind of, this float sits on this thing. Wow, it's green. Anyway, this is a float. Anyway, so we'd have this float, and so it'd be pointing straight down, and I had my line hanging down below it, and we were getting the Dorado coming up and grabbing fish right under it. I mean, it was one of those magic patties where we didn't even have to look for anything else. We basically motored away from biting fish. It was absolutely awesome. Yeah, you can't not stop at kelp patties. Yeah, you got to go. You got to throw a couple baits. When we were on the patties on Friday, that was one of the first signs, is we came up on this patty, and I threw some baits on it. Didn't see a whole lot, but then my meter just started lighting up. There were fish down below it fairly deep, and so I just threw out a few handfuls of bait, and those fish came up, and we started getting yellowtail. My wife actually hooked a Dorado, but it came up and ate her bait right next to the boat while she was in gear. So it was one of these, it was a nice fish. And it just loaded up and broke off like that. And it was like, the frustration. So we didn't end up landing any Dorado the other day. Another frustration was the very first fish of the day was about a 24-pound yellowtail, a really good fish. For a kelp patty fish, it was a good fish. And following my 24-pound yellowtail was one that was probably 20 pounds bigger. I mean, it was a beast of a yellowtail. And so I'm on this other fish, and my wife doesn't want to take the rod because she doesn't want to lose the first fish of the day. So she's all paranoid about that. And I'm like, get another bait out. And it's like, anyway, we never got a shot at that really big fish. It was a little bit of a frustration there, but it was our first time out on the boat in quite some time. So had to iron some things out and work some gear out. So anyway, it was super fun. Like I said, Friday and Monday were both super fun days of fishing. Fishing with my buddy Matt yesterday was just great, and his buddy, like I said, from Ballast Point. We just had a great time. Had a few Ballast Point beers yesterday. That might be another reason I'm not having a Ballast Point beer today. But it was just great fun and beautiful conditions. And I said, I think that a little bit of breeze may have turned things over a little bit, but I'm sure it's going to turn back on. Actually, talking about the Dorado, this subject came up the other day. A guy posted a picture. He's from Florida. He's like, holding up a Dorado that, probably looked like it was about 15 pounds, maybe 20 pounds. And he says, we haven't caught Dorado this size in years. Nobody's keeping, we're never catching big fish anymore. What's the problem? Why aren't we catching big fish? Well, literally the day before that, I saw a charter boat from Florida come in, and they were, posting a video all, proud of the great catch they had. And they obviously had, a number of people on the boat. But they kept so many Dorado that were, there were literally some that were this big. I don't know if I can see that on the camera. But 16 inches. You don't even get a sandwich out of a 16-inch Dorado. And the thing is, Dorado grows so quickly. If you just let them grow for another season, you're going to be back to having good-sized fish. But if you're keeping every little stinking rat, and they had, I would say they kept 24 Dorado this size. It was terrible. I would be embarrassed to keep a Dorado that size here. They just call them, we got some chicken dolphin. It's like, yeah, to me personally, I'm all about killing fish. I catch and release a lot of fish. I eat a lot of fish. I kept yellowfin tuna. I kept yellowtail, and they're good quality fish. But there's also, some common sense. You're wondering why you're not catching any big fish anymore. Maybe because you're keeping all the little tiny ones that haven't even had a chance to reproduce. And Dorado reproduce quickly. They grow quickly. Don't keep those little ones. It's just to say you caught one, just to show an impressive catch on your charter. To me, it was just insane. So anyway, they were within their legal limits, so they have every right to do so, but that doesn't necessarily mean you should, right? That's just my opinion. So anyway, off my soapbox. I'd rather talk about the good fun fishing we've been having. I haven't been getting on my kayak. I've got something going on with my shoulder right now, and I can barely lift my arm that high. So getting out there and paddling or moving around the boat and reaching for stuff, it's just very difficult. At least if I'm on my boat, I can have other people on the boat help me out with those certain things. So hopefully that goes away. I've been using some of the CBD stuff from Catch Some Relief, and that's been giving me a little bit of relief, but I really need to get the inflammation down inside there. I have had surgery on this shoulder twice. This one 3 times. So, getting old. Yeah. And how did I hurt it this time? I woke up. It's like literally I woke up. So, getting old, I guess. So anyway, today, what's this? Try Voltaren for pain relief. What's Voltaren? Is that a over-the-counter thing, or is it a prescription thing? I've got ibuprofen. I've got 800 milligram ibuprofen, and that works okay for me, but I just don't like taking it that much. Pamela Worth, how are you? Thanks for joining us. Oh, I did want to say also, and I don't see her on here watching right now, but a huge happy birthday to our friend Jean Wilson. She watches our shows all the time. She's one of our team members with Jackson Kayak, and she's just the greatest lady ever. So happy birthday, Jean. I hope you're watching. If you're not watching, I hope you're out fishing. What OTC and rub used to be prescription. I don't know what all that is, but used to be prescription. Does that mean, over the counter? Okay. Pamela, I love your show too. Anyway, so today's episode, I just realized I've got a sticker underneath this. I just grabbed a new hat. And I just realized when I looked up, there's a sticker under the brim. I can't. That'll drive me crazy. So anyway, today's episode was from season 8. So again, we're on season 12 right now. We just finished airing our 12th season on the air. I'm still trying to work out on whether there's going to be a season 13. But this was season 8, episode 7, up at Moutcha Bay Resort off Vancouver Island in British Columbia. This was our first trip there, as I recall. We did go there again. We were there for a tournament. They put on the Moutcha Bay kayak fishing tournament, which is just a group of awesome people, which really kind of the cool things about it also. And you will love this, Pamela, because I know you like to fish some tournaments. There's a large percentage of the anglers in this tournament are women. And they do all kinds of cool stuff. They have costume contests. So while you're out fishing, there's like people dressed up as pirates and all that. Very cool place. And it's a salmon fishing tournament. But you're inside this bay. You can go rock fishing. You can go in and go for the salmon. You can go up river for salmon. Good halibut fishing, lingcod, all kinds of stuff offshore. Just an absolutely beautiful, beautiful place up at Moutcha Bay Resort. So with no further ado, let's get this episode rolling. I hope you enjoy it. And please bring your questions, comments. I appreciate those. And share these with your friends. That always helps. So let's bring her up and start this episode. This week on the Kayak Fishing Show, we're at Moutcha Bay Resort. We are going after lingcod, halibut, rockfish, and salmon. They've got it all here. Stick around. It's going to be a great show. Word to the wise, if your mama ain't taught you. Don't stand in front of a man and a fish he ain't caught yet. Honey, if the world calls me, tell him I'm fishing. I'm going fishing. Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Where am I headed? Wouldn't you like to go fishing? I'm going fishing. Woo!
This week on Jackson Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show, Jim is joined by old friend Kalani on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. They're hosted this week by Nootka Marine Adventures, located far off the beaten path in the secluded and fish-filled waters of Moutcha Bay.
So we arrived really late last night to Moutcha Bay Resort on Vancouver Island. This is a new fishery for us. So we got James here, our guide for the trip, and he's going to take us outside, and we're going to maybe do some fishing off the boat, kind of get a feel for this fishery, and we're going to see what we can learn off the boat and then take that and put it to kayak fishing.
Well, the great thing about this location being in Nootka Sound is that we kind of get 2 kicks of the can. We're able to fish for the migratory fish that are heading south to the States and southern waters in Canada. We have 60 to 80,000 fish returning to the Canooma River, which is right here in front of us. Fantastic freshwater fishing, saltwater fishing, and a lot of the fishing in Nootka Sound is done in protected, very calm water.
We just want to kind of get a good feel for it. Kalani has not kayak fished in quite a while, so it's going to be a good way to kind of get our feet wet before we jump in the water and chase them on the kayaks.
I like to travel. My wife and I both want to travel. I'm recently retired, so I'm hoping we get an opportunity to do this. We've talked about Vancouver Island in British Columbia ever since the Winter Olympics. My wife's done a lot of traveling and seen the wilderness. I grew up on an island in Hawaii, so this is a whole new experience for me.
Kalani is an old friend of mine. I mean, we've known each other for probably 20 years, but we never really done a whole lot together. We've surfed together a little bit. We've kayaked together. Never really much in the way of fishing. He's a pretty inexperienced kayak angler, and angler at all.
I'm a novice fisherman. I make no bones, but the whole resort is just geared. It's so picturesque and very relaxing. And they have chartered tours if you want to go on. If you want to do it with a kayak, you could.
Moutcha Bay Resort is one of 3 resorts that Nook Marine Adventures has. This is our land-based resort. We have lodge accommodation, 39 campsites, yurt accommodation. We also have a full-service marina, 35 boats, half of which are used for fully guided fishing trips, and the other half which can be rented.
The things you can do at Moutcha Bay Resort, just straight off the docks here, and a very short paddle. There's some rivers that have big salmon in them. If you don't want to kayak fish, you want to take a day off and jump on a charter boat, and you want to go target huge halibut, you've got the availability of their charter service here. It's just such a wonderful service, and one of the many great services here at Moutcha Bay Resort.
When we showed up, it was wet and rainy. We got up in the morning, it was sunny and beautiful. So we headed out to open ocean.
We're going to try to drift right through all of this structure. See various depth changes. With 197 now, it's going to come up to 164, 150. But we're going to try to drift right over that structure.
I've always loved to catch big fish, and not just to catch big fish, but the potential to catch big fish. So whenever you can get offshore and potentially catch into, here would have been a big lingcod or halibut, and every drop, it could be that fish of a lifetime. And that's what excites me every single time we go out.
So I'm going to set you up with a nice big jig, 24 ouncer. We want to be right down in the bottom, obviously jigging, but you have to be careful because we've got a lot of rocks here. We don't want this getting caught in the bottom.
Right.
So just off of it, and then lots of motion to it.
Kalani had some issues. He had some struggles. We gave him a hard time, and he laughed the whole time, and we laughed, and it just made it fun.
So immediately, naturally everybody's laughing.
Hey, Kalani, you might fall off.
I still can't tell you exactly what happened. I was reaching for the boat, and that's a no-no. Because when the boat and the kayak pulled apart, it flipped, and I went in the drink. The water temperature was really chilly. Very chilly.
So yeah, I haven't watched these episodes in forever, so it's bringing back some memories there. Let me make this so it's a little more. Yeah, Kalani fell in. Now, Kalani insisted he's from Hawaii. He doesn't do wetsuits. I think he finally got in a spring suit. I'm wearing all my dry gear. I had Kokatat bibs and all the dry gear, but he didn't want to wear that, and then he falls in it, and that water's freezing. But yeah, he sucked it up and just kept going, and we had a great time. It's funny, you saw that big old jig they're using. They like the big heavy lead and the those are giant grubs. What I ended up using more often than not, and I ended up out fishing everybody, was using the little Lucanus, the Shimano Lucanus. That thing was absolutely deadly up there. I've also heard butterfly jigs work up there very well. So, it's just a phenomenal fishery and very, very cool place.
Welcome back. This week, Jim is in Vancouver Island, British Columbia, with Nootka Marine Adventures. Today, we're heading offshore to fish for halibut and lingcod. The wind is laid down, making it the perfect time to jump in the kayaks and drop some heavy jigs.
Chillier than I'm used to. We were paddling the Kraken out here in this big open water because we're putting in some miles, and it just goes well in this kind of big water. I mean, that's big open water. That's what this boat was designed for. So it's kind of the perfect boat for these conditions. I'm going to drop a cannonball to the bottom.
Have your artillery here, sir.
Got it. Thanks, sir. Cannonball with a chunk
We're
of
only,
salmon on
169 right now.
Is that Ricky over there whining with my clicker on?
Yeah, he's got a clicker addiction.
Nice ling cod. Hardest part's dealing with all this lead. He didn't like me. And he's back. There we go. Nice ling cod. There's such a cool looking fish. Almost prehistoric looking. I'm gonna slide over here just because I got no tools. I got nothing. That's all right. Like that? Like that. I was gonna let him go anyway, so. Boom! Is there an actual fish on there?
A little bottom dweller decided to have a little hit on our bait. Not sure what we got going on here.
Turn off that clicker.
See, he's putting up a bit of a struggle. He's fighting more like a skate than a halibut. Yeah, we managed to pick this guy up somewhere in the mid-30s, I think, right on the bottom. A little bit of salmon belly to use as an attractive scent. Nootka Marine Adventures in Nootka Sound on the west coast of Vancouver Island. Nice Hallie.
Oh, we came out here a few miles offshore, fishing not too long. We got a decent sized one off the boat. So nice conditions. It actually was a little windy earlier and it's kind of laid down a little bit. So it's actually really nice out here right now.
Jim, we're going to go to a little pinnacle here that's about 164 feet. Should be something there.
10-4. Offshore up here in BC, although we've had incredible conditions, there were some pretty good size rolling swells. And sometimes if you're in a kayak, man, it's super easy to get lost in the trough. And if there's boats coming around, anything like that, it can be a little bit dangerous. So I've gotten into the habit of always putting the Yak Attack VisiCarbon pole, light pole with flag on it, onto my kayaks. It makes it so much easier for the other kayakers and boaters to locate us when we're on the water. I think some of the features that are really cool about the VisiCarbon pole is it's really light. So it's not affecting my kayak at all, and it's not affecting my luggage at all. It folds down really small and goes, the flag itself is actually a pouch. So it packs down really, really nice. And the thing's incredibly strong. I mean, I've gone under low branches and forgotten about it, and it just bends over and pops right back up. It's an incredible piece of equipment for our kayaks. Well, we gave it our best shot today. Got some ling cod. Guys on the boat got a really nice halibut. Had beautiful conditions, kind of changed back and forth. They had a little bit of fog, had a little bit of wind, but overall, beautiful day today. And going to be doing something different tomorrow, chasing after salmon in the Moutcha Bay kayak fishing tournament. So really looking forward to what we have coming up tomorrow. So stick around. So, Alan, you say the Moutcha Bay tournament kayak derby is coming up in 2 weeks again. That's funny that this just happened to line up pretty close to that. It's a great event. I don't know if the same people I was dealing with back then are still there. I know it was Allison. I don't think she works there anymore, but still, the location is awesome, and it was certainly one of the more fun events I've been to. As far as just the camaraderie and the joking around, nobody taking it really serious. But it was very, very fun. I will say, and I'm pretty sure it was this trip because I've been there twice. We got there. They had a party before the event, the night before. I think it was the night before. Anyway, and I had we were there, and the guy goes, "So, do you want a couple of our special IPAs?" And I love an IPA, and I had 2 IPAs, and I know for a fact I had 2 IPAs, and I couldn't find my way back to my cabin. I don't know if these things were like 90 proof IPAs or what, but my videographer Will and I both had the same issue. I mean, I woke up in my cabin fully dressed on top of my bed from 2 beers, or either that or somebody roofied me. I don't know, but it was like I wandered around because everything's pretty spread out, the cabins and all that. If you see those cabins right there, that I was staying in one of those. And then the lodge was down a ways, and I don't know if I walked right past it, and I did this huge lap around the entire camp, all their yurts and everything else. And then I ended up back where I started, and then had to go back and try to find my place from 2 beers. And I'm not joking. It was 2 beers. And I can drink beer. So I'd love to hear more about what's going on with the tournament. That's awesome. It is such a great event. I don't know if they held it last year with all the COVID stuff and all that. So it's cool to see it coming back because it is such a fantastic event, and they do a great job. Let's see here. I'm trying to miss the button there. So let's keep her rolling.
Welcome back to Jackson Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show with Jim Sammons. It's early morning in Moucha Bay, and today is a special day. Kayak anglers from all over have gathered to try their luck in the annual Moutcha Bay Kayak Fishing Tournament.
Oh, going to get an early start. The tournament is today. We're not fishing in the tournament. We are kind of just going to be observers and shoot it for them. And then we're going to go poke around and see if we can find some fish too. So absolutely beautiful morning here. We haven't been up north, on the West Coast in such a long time. And I forgot how beautiful this place is up north. And everything's so big. It's just amazing. Absolutely gorgeous up here. We're here in Moutcha Bay at the mouth of the Canooma River. We have 58 entrants this year, and we're out here this morning. It's just coming on to 7 o'clock, and we're waiting for the action to happen.
The kayak parking lot down here. Yeah, Jim, let's keep going down towards the river mouth here.
This is a tournament I've heard of for years, and it's always been kind of a small grassroots local kayak fishing tournament. We're kind of remote, and for them to have 60 anglers show up, to me, is just beyond belief. I think one of the most interesting things to me was they had a large percentage of women in this tournament. Something, I don't see nearly as much in the U.S. Sure, we get some women in the tournaments in the U.S. You might get 4 or 5 at a tournament with 200, but they probably had 10 here in a tournament of 60.
In the year I won, Tesha, the girl who has the cat ears on right now, she has like a orange kayak. She got the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place fish.
Do you want us to get a weigh on that?
Do you need weight on that?
It's nice. You can meet her fish down here. And with the Dragonfly, I can actually follow the lure down to the right depth. You can actually see your lure go down to right where you want it. So I'll be hooking up any second now.
We come to Canada usually once a year, sometimes twice. We were up here twice this year. I don't know that we've ever had a bad fishing trip to Canada. I mean, there is so much fishing and variety of fishing. I mean, even at this one location, they have very good resource management up here. So most of the species are doing well and are doing really strong. I live on the east side of Vancouver Island in Courtenay. I come out here to guide in the summertime for one reason, and that's the numbers of fish and the consistency of fishing. For a kayak angler, it's really a super ideal location because you just literally, you can catch fish just straight out in front of the resort. I mean, they're right there. Yahoo! And then if you want to bring fish home, like we're bringing a little bit of fish home from this trip, they're going to fillet it up. They're going to vacuum pack it. They're going to pack it nice and box it all up. So it's really easy for you to transport home.
You're like,
yeah,
I totally caught this.
I know, this is all me.
So our first place winner is Eric with his 19.2 pounder.
Yes, a little bit of luck and right place at the right time, having fun and just enjoying it.
3 for the photo. 1, 2, 3.
Yes, the winner got a Kraken.
It's so easy when you come to Canada to get away. I mean, you have the big cities, sure, but it's very easy to get away from all that. Within a couple-hour drive, you can be out in the middle of nowhere on some small lake or on a stream or whatever, and getting on some fish of a lifetime, fish that you won't see in the lower states. I mean, I absolutely love coming to Canada to fish. It's one of my favorite places ever.
Let's see. Alan says there was no tournament last year, just a friendly event. I know the year we went. I mean, this year, I mean, they showed the guy with the winning fish. A few other fish were snagged. Snagged fish don't count. That was the only fish landed. The following year, they told me that it was just phenomenal fishing, that they weighed like 50 fish. I mean, just absolutely incredible. So I know it was, it's fishing. Alan also says, Alan's got several comments here. I appreciate that. It's rolling again this year and is considered an official stop on the Western Canada kayak fishing trail. That's very cool because it's such a great location. 2019 had over 200. That's amazing. To have 200 entrants at a place that, I mean, it's not the easiest place in the world to get to, that's for sure. I mean, it's not, I mean, obviously we get there with the kayaks and everything, but it's a little bit remote. So to have over 200 entrants is amazing. That is super cool. William Queen has a question for me. I noticed you hang your feet off the side of the kayak quite a bit. That you ever worry or ever have a close call with sharks, killer whales in seal-infested waters? Yeah, it's a habit, hanging feet off the side of the kayaks for me, mainly because when I started kayak fishing, I was really on long, skinny boats. And to me, it's a more comfortable position. I feel like I have better leverage on pulling on a big fish, but it also gives you a little bit of balance. I was a surfer, so I used to have my feet over the sides of the boat. So I don't have a fear of sharks. I was in New Zealand and had a shark come up and grab. It's a video. If you look it up on Kayak Fishing Tales, our YouTube channel. I had a bronze whaler come up and grab a fish that was in my hand, and my foot was over the side of the boat. In really sharky waters, I would always use the shark shield. But in general, no, I've never had a problem. I mean, like I said, I've been surfing forever. It's actually kind of funny. I've been surfing forever, and you're sitting there with your feet in the water. I've been diving forever. You're in the water. but then people think, oh, it's a bad thing to be sitting in a kayak with your feet in the water. Now, with that said, you got to take precautions. A guy did get his foot bit off in Hawaii, doing exactly that. But I don't even think about it. It's just second nature for me to have my feet over the sides of the boat. With a lot of the bigger boats, it's actually a lot less comfortable to do that because they're so wide. You're damn near doing the splits to hang your feet off the side of the boat. So I don't do it quite as much as I used to. But if I'm in my Kraken, I usually have like 1 foot in the water. So, yeah. Dave says, beautiful fishing spot and fish. Yeah, it was phenomenal. I don't know if it's in this video. This is a 2-parter from this location. I know there was a spot we decided to go upriver, and we were fishing pools up there for salmon, and literally, we're on one side and there's a big old black bear just lounging on the other side. I personally have a fear of bears. I don't fear sharks and all that stuff in the water, but I do have a fear of bears. And I had no fear of this bear because he was so fat and happy from eating all the salmon that he literally just he was laying back, and then he would lift his head up and look at us, and then he'd just lay back. It's such an incredibly beautiful spot. And like it was said at the beginning, for anglers and kayak anglers, unless you went outside, and there's still so much great fishing inside, it's fully protected. I mean, you're mountains on every side. There was always someplace calm that you could get out of any wind if there was any. Just a fantastic place. Alan says it's really grown big. I mean, that's like I said, 200 people. That is amazing. William, what is a Shark Shield? Shark Shield it used to just be Shark Shield. Now it's Shark Shield powered by, I don't remember. I'm sorry. But anyway, it is an electronic shark deterrent. It sends out an electrical pulse into the water that affects the ampullae of Lorenzini on a shark, which is their receptors on the snout, and they don't like it. I was very skeptical the first time I got one of these and was told to try it out, and I have seen it work. I have deterred hammerheads. I have deterred tiger sharks. So for me, not having a fear of sharks, I also don't like losing fish to sharks. I don't like having a shark come up and grab a fish right out of my hand right next to the boat. So what I would do is I would turn it on when I would hook a fish, and I'd bring the fish up. And so I didn't have to worry about a shark coming up and getting on a fish that was right next to the kayak. It's designed for divers, so they would wear it around their ankle, and then it was about a 4-foot cable. On the kayak, I would attach it to the handle of my kayak and then just leave it hanging over the side. So, but it does send out an electrical pulse. If you grab it when it's wet, you will get shocked. Dave Myers watching from Jacksonville, Florida, when I should be working. Too many gators where I fish to hang my feet off very often. Yeah, that I understand as well. I'm not real fun. Did you guys see? I just saw it this morning. There was like a birthday party at a reptile thing, and one of the handlers was feeding the gator, and a gator grabbed her hand and then literally pulled her into the enclosure. And it wasn't that big of a gator. I mean, it was amazing how strong the thing was. And then it did the spin, and it just rolled her all over until a guy that was there jumped on its back and held it in position so it couldn't spin on her anymore. Otherwise, it probably would have ripped her arm off, or at least her hand off. It was just sketchy video. I just saw it this morning on the news. So speaking of gators, unfortunately, shark shields don't work on gators. Oh, David, you saw that video too? I mean, it was sketch, man. Yeah, big crocs. Well, Michael, you're in Australia, I remember, aren't you? Yeah, big saltwater crocs. Yeah, that's a whole nother ball game, man. I wish the Shark Shield worked on those guys, because I said, I'll take sharks. I don't like the crocs. I don't like the bears. So anyway, let's get this show rolling and see the rest of this thing.
Welcome back to Jackson Kayak's Kayak Fishing Show with Jim Sammons. It's been an amazing adventure this week in Moutcha Bay, and the guys have only scratched the surface. Today we have another window in the weather, and it's time to head offshore for a second shot at halibut and lingcod. What you got going on over here, Jess?
We got, I think it's a yellow eye. No, it's a rockfish.
Last day of the trip. Came back outside hoping for some big halibut or lingcod. Much nicer day today. Just almost grease out here. So we got high hopes for big fish. Just switched from the big jig over to a Lucanus. First drop, it got hit. Swam right down.
Another nice lingcod.
Really? You got to spin everything up? Woohoo! I will take it. One of the very cool things about a place like this, you know, we don't kill a lot of fish, but man, these are good eating. So they will fillet it up, vacuum pack it all up for you, and send you home with a nice box of fillets. So we'll have some good eating from this guy. Lingcod is delicious.
Oh, nice, dude. Little ling, 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 little ling, 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 ling. Sweet.
Yeah, I just tried the new lure, dropped it to the bottom, felt a couple taps, and it worked like a dream.
So we're watching the boys here. Oh, little vermilion. Little color. Nice.
Having the electronics out here is just makes life so much easier. I paddled in, saw a hump, saw some bait over the top of it, drop, instantly hook up. Man, it's so nice to have this Ray Marine Dragonfly on my kayak. And the way I have it set up, kind of portable, and with the Kraken, it's just so easy to rig up. Nice rig for fishing this. I'm using this 6.5 Century jigging rod. Because I'm fishing vertically right next to the boat, it's very comfortable to fish with. It's really light, good pulling power. Then on it, I've got my Jim Sammons Truth Reel. You know, for the small fish, it's a little overkill, but you never know. Here, you might hook into a big halibut, so having a little bit bigger reel, even though some of the fish aren't that big, is really nice. I got it loaded with 80-pound Seaguar threadlock braid and then 60-pound Seaguar fluorocarbon leader because, again, you might get into a bigger fish. So really comfortable setup, really fun to fish with, and we are having a ball.
Digging up the side of the boat and picked up a nice little lingcod.
Oh, here we go. This was on the drop. Feels a little better. Oh yeah, this feels better. Nice, huh? They're just such cool looking fish when like that. Yeah, nice fish.
So that last
yellow
one,
eye?
I'm gonna pause it just for a second here. That last lingcod I had, there was a greenling. So when if you've ever looked and you'll see these videos every once in a while, people get kind of freaked out. But the meat is actually almost a turquoise blue or Tiffany blue green. When you cook it, it turns completely white, but the meat is, like I said, it's kind of blue green when you fillet the fish. It's really weird looking. But another cool thing about halibut, not halibut, but lingcod, is they're such predators. There's very often you'll get what we call a hitchhiker, where you'll catch maybe a smaller lingcod or a rockfish, and then the lingcod will come up and grab onto it, and it won't let go. I had I was up in Alaska and had caught a small lingcod, and a bigger lingcod came up and grabbed it. And I called my camera guy over, you got to watch this. And I'm going to lift the fish up, and you'll see that one's hanging onto the other. Well, I did that, and he held on. And I dropped him back down, and I picked him back up, and I dropped him back down, and I picked him back. I did it like 4 times for the camera, and he never let go. So then I reached down with my boga grip, and I boged the big fish. He shook his head. The small fish went flying away, and I landed the big lingcod without ever having a hook in it. They're very cool. They're also, you'll catch them deep, but unlike a lot of these fish, they don't have a swim bladder. So, you get a lot of these rockfish, you get them part way up and they just kind of blow up and then float to the surface. Well, lingcod fight you the entire way. So just an exceptional predator, very fun to keep. Usually if I'm fishing for them up Alaska, BC, we'll keep those medium-sized ones, but the big ones are so impressive. And so old that we always catch and release the big lingcod and just keep the smaller ones medium size because they are such a cool fish. Dave says when he catches the turquoise meat or the green lings, he tells his friends he caught him near the San Onofre nuclear power plant. That's pretty funny. People freak out. They really do. Because it is weird looking to fillet a fish and the meat's that color. Let's keep it rolling.
That's fun. Fish! Some days you just need to go catching instead of fishing. Oh, come on. Come on. We hit it off really well with James, our guide on this trip, because very like-minded. We felt the same way about species protection, catch and release, keeping some fish. I mean, we're all on the same page. We've done a lot of the same things. He's done a lot of traveling to fish. We travel a lot to fish. So there was a lot of connectivity between us.
Well, I think when we take a look at what we were able to achieve over the last couple of days, we caught 5 or 6 different species of rockfish. Included in that were some nice vermilion and some yellow eye. We managed to pick up a few lingcod as well, and we managed to get some halibut off the boat while those guys were kayak fishing. And a great thing about being out there is you never know what you're going to have on the end of the line.
Hour ago, this fish is right out there. Now it's in my belly.
The fishing that we've had, even when they're saying it's the slowest year they've had in 8 years, we had great fishing and had a great time. The wildlife, I've never been up close and personal with bears, and we had that a few times. I've never paddled right next to sea otters, and I was able to do that on this trip. And just caught a lot of fish and hung out with good people, and everybody here was so nice and welcoming. It's an incredible, incredible location.
So that wraps up that episode. Yeah, like I said, there is a part 2. So our next week we will be back at Moutcha Bay Resort. There was another couple more comments here. Michael has to go back to work. Has to go to work in Australia. We'll watch later. Thanks for joining us, Michael. I appreciate it. All the way from Australia. Dave Myers, did Raymarine give up on smaller units? I was looking for one a few months ago with no luck. Yes, they discontinued the Dragonfly, unfortunately, because I felt that was a really good entry level unit. That, although it was entry level, it was amazing. So now, basically, your entry level would be the Element. Do I have one here? Element. So this is actually the big Element, but they have a smaller size Element, and which is a fantastic unit. It's it's not an entry level pricing. It's still a very, very good fish finder, but it's a great one for the kayak. It is not touch screen. It is all controls off to the side. I have found personally, although I love the idea of touchscreen, and I love them on my boat. On my kayak, my hands are always so wet. I end up leaving streaks all over the screen. And oftentimes with really wet fingers, it doesn't work quite as well. So I found that I prefer the Element on my kayak over the Axiom. So, but they're a fantastic unit. But like I said, they're not what you would call, they're not $150. They're not a $200 unit. They're definitely more of that mid-range pricing. But quality wise, what you're going to get out of it, very much worth it. But they don't have, like I said, this is a large one. I think they have it down to 7-inch. So this is a 9. So yeah. Okay, well, with that, the episode's all finished. I really, really appreciate you all joining us. Please do me a favor and share that post I made earlier today about the Mylar balloons. Like I said, I would love to see more people get that knowledge that, you can't just let one go and figure it's, going to disappear. They don't, evaporate into the atmosphere. They end up in the ocean. They end up in the rivers. They end up in the forests, and there's nothing good about them. Yes, your kids like them. They're cool. Like I said, the 2 we got yesterday, or 2 of them we got, because we got like 20. We had a T-Rex, and we had the dog, whatever that thing, the police dog, whatever. And yeah, your kids like them. But, you put them in your kids' hands, they let go. That dog one it still had enough helium in it that if it wasn't connected to other stuff, it probably would have still floated. But it had like 6 other balloons attached to it. So, I just highly encourage you to talk to your friends, family, discourage them from buying Mylar balloons or any kind of helium type balloon that's going to go floating away and end up in our oceans and, affecting our marine life. Because there's nothing good about them. Anyway, so with that said, like I said, back off the soapbox. I do appreciate you guys all being here. I will be back again next Tuesday. We'll continue posting. Of course, we are on the Facebook page. We are on Instagram, and of course, Kayak Fishing Tales, where this is also broadcasting. So again, share it with your friends. I'll keep you guys all posted on what's going on with the show, on new shooting, what direction we're going. So as soon as I know, you will know. So if you are getting out on the water, please be safe. Always wear your PFD and keep your paddle right side up. Y'all take care.
I'm going fishing.